Hey everybody, looks like we are in fact live now, which is fantastic. I've been looking forward to doing this. I haven't done much live streaming on YouTube at all, so hopefully this is coming across okay. I'm going to go ahead and open a live chat in a new window so I can see any comments that might be coming in. Hey Dayron, nice to see you. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So let's see here. I've got that in a new window, which is good. And okay, it says we're about 45, 49, 50 seconds in now, so this is excellent. So I wanted to talk a little bit about tonight's coverage and the storm. Obviously, a lot of you will be tuning into your mainstream media when available and following a lot on social media. And I want to begin by talking about a couple of excellent resources for storm coverage where you're, in fact, in one, I know you're going to hear things before the mainstream media gets it out, because I know for quite some time they've been following this person who I'm about to recommend, and many of you have heard me. It's light on the volume? Okay, thank you very much, Dayron. Let's bring that up. Okay, so this should be better. How's that, Dayron? Hopefully that's better. I can also adjust it in one other place. Actually, it's all the way up, so it should be much better. So if I'm going to have a voice, I better find it by tonight, if I'm out there in the wind. Okay, so let's talk about some resources, a couple that I'd like to recommend for information about tonight's storm. I say tonight's because the big winds are expected to be coming in through the evening, and depending on where you live in the Puget Sound area, it sounds like the further north you go, the later it's going to start, but the longer it's going to last and stretch further into the evening. You're only seeing a spinning circle. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Amy D. Maybe it's because you're on a mobile device and I need to adjust the settings to better accommodate the mobile devices. This will, after the live stream, it'll take some time, but it will eventually be available once it transcodes and processes on YouTube, and perhaps you'd like to check out the playback. I'm not going to keep this terribly long, so let me just go ahead and continue. Display to, that's what I want to do. I want to take this. So first recommendation, first and foremost, is Dayron Johnson. His Twitter site is snowco_scanner. Let me go ahead and put that up with the so you can see it. There it is, at snowco_scanner. Dayron does a really good job about getting the information out accurately, and he's also good about deciding what not to put out. And as I mentioned earlier, the Seattle area media, most if not all, follow him. They often ask him for permission to use audio or things that he might get that he shares on his Twitter feed. Dayron is well prepared. I believe he has backup generators, and it's working now, Amy? Okay, fantastic. Okay, she needed to exit and start again. Coming through fine in Bellingham. Fantastic. So I definitely highly recommend that you follow Dayron. Dayron is pronounced Dayron, looks like Darren, D-A-R-O-N. He's a wonderful guy, and he's really dedicated to being there and being in the clutch when you need him on moments like this. He's not using scanner apps on smartphones or tablets. He's got far more sophisticated scanners at home. And again, he's very responsible about what he puts out there. And he's oftentimes the first when it comes to breaking news to get the information out on social media. And I rarely ever have to see him ever have to do a retraction. He might have to say better information now and massage the numbers a little bit, but that's basically because it was put out the way he tweeted it initially. So keep in mind everything he's putting out is being heard over the scanner, but I consider it to be 99% solid. And he's always very good to make any corrections if that's needed. And he says he's already ready, and thank you. That's Dayron right there in the comments. Okay, so another source that I wanted to recommend, and let's go ahead and take a look. In fact, you know what I should do? Let's just go back to where Dayron was. Now, I have this monitor that you're looking at in another room, and I'm remotely doing this. So let's go over here. Cliff Mass weather block. Dayron, you know about this. In fact, you told me about when the latest post was up. So Cliff Mass is the Seattle area's, I would say, foremost leading weather expert. When the Seattle television stations need someone to go to talk about a major storm event, they go to Cliff Mass. He's with the University of Washington, and he has excellent information. You know, he has his own Twitter feed. I saw that there's another Twitter feed that basically, I don't want to say dumbs down, but massages the content of the blog so that it's more in layman's terms, because you do get the formal information here, but you could make it out, and you do get the idea. And sometimes I wouldn't say he buries the lead because he's going with a chronological narrative. For example, yesterday he wrote about what to expect today, or this was 2 days ago. And then halfway through that post, he started talking about Saturday, which is now today, obviously. And that's where he said at that time it appeared that this could be a storm approaching unlike anything the Pacific Northwest has ever seen. Puget Sound region. However, it seems that scaled back a bit. He's now saying that this could be on par with the 1993 Inauguration Day storm or the 2006 Hanukkah Eve storm. Let me go ahead and make sure that you can see his URL, his website address. There it is in the lower left-hand corner of your screen now, cliffmass.blogspot.com. I want to show you one more thing. Let me go over to the another tab here. So this is my Twitter feed right here, Beyond 90 Seconds. By the way, Snoko_scanner. We've become friends through Twitter, and we've met in person and been out at scenes now together. He took this picture that's now in my profile picture out at Mukilteo earlier this year, so that was very kind of him. Had no idea he was taking it, but I kind of rather like it. But I want to show you this map from Cairo that went out, I believe it was this afternoon. So you can see the breakdown according to Cairo in terms of the strongest winds from noon to 5 in southwestern Washington. Then you see going north 3 to 8 p.m., 4 to 8 p.m. for basically the Seattle area, 4 to 10 p.m. I should say, and then roughly right around Snohomish County, Skagit County going northwards, 5 p.m. to midnight. Now this is interesting because earlier I had heard that the strongest winds were probably going to get here about 11 p.m., but the forecast according to Cairo now is calling for those strong winds to get here even earlier. Now, when we talk about strong winds, what is it that we are talking about? And by the way, Dayron, you say that no BS from Cliff Mass. He knows his stuff. Yes, absolutely. No fluffing stuff. You get an excellent perspective, and you get nuts and bolts, excellent information, the best information that he can put together in advance of a storm, and he adapts that information as the storms draw closer. So, I have a friend who, again, another person I met on social media down in Montesano, Washington, which is west of Olympia as you go out towards Aberdeen. And he's telling me that his sense is it's aimed at his area, and he aims to, if possible, get pictures and video out tonight as well. So up and down Washington State, certainly into Oregon, maybe even northern California, up and our friends to the north in British Columbia who felt the same storm that we felt yesterday. They're all bracing for what's coming in the hours ahead. So just wanted to share all of that with you. And I wanted to let Portland area reporting damaging winds. Okay, thank you, Dayron. So just to avoid any confusion, I oftentimes talk to Dayron when I'm on Periscope as well. For reasons I'm not totally clear on, his Twitter handle and his Periscope handle are slightly different. You also see Dayron on Periscope at Snohomish County Scanner, I believe is what it is. Whereas on Twitter, he's Snoko_scanner. Same guy. He doesn't do much on Periscope other than view because he wants to see what's going on out there. He's not one to get in front of the camera or scope much, but he often joins scopes in this area. But you definitely want to follow Dayron, Snoko_scanner on Twitter. So guys, here I am on YouTube. I hope it's coming across okay for you. This is really the first more formal setup I've done, and I hope to be doing more of you like this in the future. I also wanted to say that I am going to attempt, in addition to going live on Periscope at times tonight, to go live on YouTube as well. If you subscribe to me here on YouTube, you should get a notification if I'm able to go live tonight or anytime I post a new video. I'm Beyond 90 Seconds right here on YouTube, so feel free to subscribe. Check it out. Hopefully I can pull off a decent live shot on YouTube as well, and I'll be on Periscope. You can count on that. How much I'm going to immerse myself into tonight's storm, I just don't know yet at this point. I want to be sensible about it. Of course, that's a wide open argument in terms of what's sensible and what's not. But I'll be out there in the early hours at least. I want to thank you very much for checking out this broadcast, and I want to thank you for all the time that you take to check out my Periscope broadcast as well. I really appreciate it, and it's always enjoyable to to engage with you on social media. Dayron says that is because of a user failure in terms of the discrepancy in his two handles between Twitter and Periscope. So with that said, if you guys have any questions, I'll just let it hang here for just a second to see if you have anything else you wanted to point out, say, share, or ask. And then outside of that, after that moment, we'll move on with the evening. I've got to charge a few more batteries before I get out the door. And Dayron, I'll be swinging by to pick up that extra charger. I want to thank you for that. And then probably going to take a look at Mukilteo. I did notice the Snohomish River is definitely up. It's not over the river walk in Snohomish, but it's rising. And with more rain coming, we can bet that the river is going to continue to go up, as well as other area rivers throughout the Puget Sound area, British Columbia too, I'm sure. Well, I'm not seeing any other questions, so I guess we'll wrap it up with that. Thanks again, guys. Really appreciate it. Take care out there. Remember, the wind gusts tonight could be anywhere from 50, 60, 65. They're even saying 70, maybe even 75 miles per hour in the Puget Sound area. Those are the type of winds that we typically hear when we have a severe storm associated where, the storms make landfall right along the coast, west of the Olympics, not inside the Puget Sound area. So that's certainly the possibility of what's going to unfold here tonight. They're using the term hurricane force type winds are potentially in the cards for tonight's storm. So please do be safe out there. Stilly up, but not bad. Well, that's good to hear about the Stillaguamish River. It's up, but it's not bad. Someone says will be interesting with high tide coming about when the winds hit. Well, let me check that out. I've got my phone here and I've got a tidal app. And let's see if we check Everett, for example, Snohomish near Everett, about 25 miles north of Seattle. In fact, if I would have known, I could have actually made my device available in this broadcast with a little mirroring. But let's check Everett. Okay, so what I'm seeing is the last tide was low at 10:49, and the next high tide in Everett is at 4:51, is what I'm seeing. I'm going to check out White Rock, which is just across the border into Canada, just north of Blaine, Washington. Last tide was low at 11:12 a.m. The next high tide is at 5:22 p.m. So we have early evening high tides, it looks like, throughout the area. I've got one more locked in already just because I go to these locations to do photography quite a bit. Edmonds, Washington, last tide was a low tide at 10:39 a.m. and the next high tide is in 4:45. So we're looking at basically 4:30 to 5 o'clock tonight for the next high tide, and that's when the winds will be definitely picking up. So let's talk about let's just do a quick look here. Let's go to back to our look at these web pages. Okay, let's look right here. So 5 o'clock, the 5 o'clock hour. Noon to 5 in southwestern Washington for the highest, strongest winds, according to this from Cairo today. Certainly the 5 o'clock hour falls, throughout the state. So high tide and the winds do come together throughout western Washington, so that will be interesting to follow. And Snoko says, for your information, Mark, Arlington Walmart evacuated over threats. Well, that's so Dayron often likes to keep me up, Snoko_scanner, on events that are breaking news-wise in the area. So that's a shame because Arlington Walmart, certainly there's been a run on stores as people prepare for tonight's storm. Getting everything from water to batteries, food supplies, the things that you would typically associate with these types of events when there's a great risk of damage and loss of power. And with the amount of debris that could come down, trees and branches and so forth, and so many leaves still left on the trees even after yesterday's winds, that if all that comes down tonight, we could have drains being blocked and that will really back up the water, and we could have water in the streets and ponding throughout the area. Hopefully no flooded homes. We're just going to have to wait and see. Westport just gusted 54 miles per hour. Ocean Shores 42 miles per hour. Destruction Island 52 miles per hour. So there you go. We've got significant gusts already along the Washington coast, and all of that stuff is moving towards us. And just check you guys have excellent comments. I appreciate it so much. Amy, you brought up the high tide information. Steve says, thanks, bro. You're most welcome, Steve. My pleasure. I'm hoping that you guys, if you're watching this on a PC or a laptop or Mac, or even a handheld device, a smartphone or tablet, that you're all able to view the stream. Okay, I tried to adjust. I haven't done a whole lot of YouTube streaming, and I've tried to adjust the settings so that the bit rate favors everybody across the board, and nobody's going to get that frozen screen. And Dayron just now says 21-mile-per-hour gusts at Payne Field now, so here it comes. Payne Field is, most people think of that area, as I do, where Boeing aircraft are made. My dad worked there for 30 years before he retired, working on 747s, etc., as a machinist. And so when I stream, or when I go on Periscope, many of you see me from Mukilteo. As the crow flies, I'm probably only about 2 to 3 miles away from Payne Field. There's a big push here to make it a mainstream airport for commercial aircraft. That hasn't happened yet, but that kind of real estate is there. It's a major area in terms of aircraft, obviously, manufacturing and airport. And Mamo Peterson, I'm glad that it works. And Amy says, iPhone app kept not updating screens, so on Mac now, and it's great. Okay, Amy D., thank you for sharing that. I can perhaps adjust the settings even further, go with a bit of a lower bit rate to help accommodate smartphones and tablets. So that's good to know. So Payne Field is an official weather station, obviously, as well as being an airport. I would think that there's a great likelihood, and we'll have to wait and see, that air traffic in the area is perhaps going to be restricted or even shut down if we're actually going to get 60 to 70, perhaps even 75-mile-an-hour gusts throughout the area. Streaming stops on my iPad, but I can exit and start again to see live picture. Hey, Tommy, thank you very much for sharing that. Well, you guys are giving me excellent feedback. If I go live tonight on YouTube again, it won't be here inside. It will be because I'm using my iPhone, and I'm hoping I can pull that off, as well as live streaming on Periscope. I want to be clear about that. I could be doing Facebook too, but I think I'm not going to go for the trifecta tonight. Just restrict it to Periscope and YouTube. But again, how long I'm out there, how much I actually scope, that's going to be dictated by what's going on around me, as you might well appreciate it. So again, follow at Snoco_scanner. Follow your local utilities in Snohomish County. It's Snohomish County PUD. Roku, YouTube, you look very professional. Hey, Lavender, thank you so much. I'm glad it's coming across well. That's great to hear. Okay, so I'll just do a quick, I don't want to show you that. That's not what I meant to do. Let's go back over here and operating my remote. I've got a monitor in another room. That's what you're looking at right now. We'll just close out with this. Even if you don't think that anything in Snohomish County would be of interest to you because you don't live there, you're going to get lots of great information if you have any interest in this storm at all from Snohomish County Snoco_scanner, which is Snohomish County Scanner. That's Dayron Johnson, breaking news tweets for Snohomish County. And since what's happening here and throughout the Puget Sound area is so very much under the media's nose tonight, not only locally, but there's certainly national and international interest in terms of what's going to happen here. Anytime you talk about the potential for hurricane force winds, it's a big story. That's why the LA Times wrote about it yesterday, I believe it was. And there'll be more on this to be sure. The big question is how much power is going to be lost? How widespread will the power outages be? And how will roads and so forth be affected? How much water will we in fact get? Will roads become impassable? And what about the potential for slides? A few days ago, in advance of these storms, I was live on the bluff at Mukilteo, and I had meant to talk about Lowell-Larimer Road, because inevitably, when we get a storm, something happens on that road. For 3 years in a row now, I think I've been down on that road when we've had a big storm, and 3 years in a row, I've been down on that road showing slides and trees down. I watched a guy move his boat from his driveway across the road because he feared the bluff would come down. There is so much in terms of, that's basically the back of Eastmont, and it's clay. And a lot of the trees and brush have come down. And beneath it, there's a ditch to handle the water runoff. But last I checked, it was largely filled in and not working properly. And it's been a priority of the county. There have been articles in this in the Everett Herald over the years to get that situation addressed. So we only need to remember March of 2014, the Oso slide, to know that the potential for deadly devastation is all around us in Washington State when it comes to slides. And I'm not exaggerating. The Seattle Times had an excellent map that showed the areas where slides could occur. And we've had them on Whidbey Island that made news a year or two ago and elsewhere. So hopefully we're not going to see that play out too much, if at all. I know that folks along the Pilchuck River have been watching their backyards go away. But this is the type of weather where the ground gets saturated and the winds are fierce and the water comes through and in ponds and moves on, that we do get erosion. And I would suspect there's going to be a lot of erosion along the Washington coast as well. So with all that said, guys, I'll go ahead and finally wrap it up. Went a little bit longer than I anticipated. But thanks so much for watching. Take care. And if you don't have to go out tonight, stay indoors, and hopefully you won't lose power. And hopefully you've got some batteries and some food and all the supplies that you might need if you can't get out for a while. So take care, everybody. Thanks for watching.